The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's the Ron Van Dam Show.
Hold on tight, things can get a bit weird, if you like that sort of thing.
Hey, welcome to the program. How are you? No, you. How you doing? Welcome. It's the Ron Van Dam Show, as has been discussed at the beginning of this show. Thanks for being here. I come into the studio once a week because that's what I do. I don't know why, actually. Come to think of it, I don't know why I do that. I do a Monday through Friday weekday radio program. Been doing it for 35 years now. Oh, my God. So, yeah, whatever. Anyway, you can listen to me on a daily basis by going to ronvandam.com or newenglandbroadcasting.com or to any one of 40 platforms that I'm on to make myself look higher. I'm on iHeartRadio and Amazon Music with that Alexa thing, and iTunes and the Apple Podcast stuff, and TuneIn Radio and TuneOut Radio and Pandora Music, not the jewelry company, but the music company, and Stitcher and SoundCloud and Spoonstock and FlownCloud and Blayfly and all those other things. And then we're on syndicated radio stations across the country as well. So thank you for being here. I don't know who you are because I can't see you. That's the wonderful thing about doing this. I can form a relationship with you where I don't even know who you are. and after half an hour, it's over. We're done until the next day. And then if you want to continue the relationship, I'm open to it. But, that's it. Easy. Well, what I do on this show is I talk about things that make no sense. That's been the theme of my life. And I bring it to this forum. Thank you so much. Well, first of all, I'm going to start by alienating a lot of people. It's a good way to start a relationship. That way we weed out the thing, Why waste your time? Why should I waste mine? Oh God, I'm going to piss you off in so many ways today, I have a feeling. This is the 300th anniversary of a little town, a sleepy little hollow town in Massachusetts, where I ended up living. I'm a New York City guy. Don't think less of me. I'm a New York City guy, and I was transplanted here for a job. And then things happened, and they blossomed into this radio thing, and I did television for about 22 years. In the Boston area with a television show called Another Night. I own a video production company, all those things. Anyway, so here I am. So 300 years for the town of, now I don't know if you're familiar with the town, Easton, did I pronounce that properly? Easton, Massachusetts. It's funny when people say, Ron, where do you live? I say, well, I live in Northeastern, and they say Northeastern University, the Northeast, what town, what state in the Northeast? No, North, separate word, Easton. Oh, it takes a while to get through that Abbott and Costello routine with them. 300 years. I kind of feel that old, to be honest with you. 300 years. And that's wonderful. Congratulations. I don't know what you did to earn the congratulations. The fact that you still exist is usually why. I mean, why do people even have birthdays? How old are you now? I'm 60. Oh, congratulations. For what? For still being alive? Is why don't you just say that? Oh, you're 60 and you're not dead yet. That's a good thing. That's what we're celebrating here. 300 years. There are a lot of festivities that are taking place in this particular town, which are wonderful, but also the announcement, the 300-year announcement, basically, we don't have enough money to run this town. Oh, congratulations. Yes, we don't take in enough money to pay for what we have to pay for to keep the town running properly. Okay, now let's have some fun and go to the festivities. So how are we going to celebrate the 300 years besides having little music events and some booths and things like that? Okay, here's how we're going to celebrate the 300 years. We're going to raise your taxes. Oh, yay! Yeah, if you decided to live here and you own property, and thank you so much for doing so, we're going to raise your property tax. Happy anniversary! I'm being sarcastic. What else can you do? Well, I don't know. The town has to meet certain costs. It seems to me that just recently I paid through various taxes the water facility to be updated because someone said your water isn't good enough, so you have to now make it better. Oh, how are we going to pay for that? Well, through taxes. And now we're in a situation where we can't even do stuff. So, but you know what? Just like the United States being in some type of incredible peril right now, so are other countries. And the same here. So are other towns and cities going through these financial crises. I think that's the plural of it. I'm not sure. So I am not a town official. I live in a town, but I'm not a town official. I'm not on any kind of school committee. But I do say that for a period of time, just like Trump says with the tariffs, for a period of time, we're going to have to suck it up. I can't suck anymore with any more property tax. Property tax already sucks. I can't suck it up even more. So you got to start making cuts. People are going to lose their jobs here and there. Not good if you depend on that particular job. The schools, your classroom sizes are going to have to be larger. Oh no, my God. There's going to be more than 10 people in a classroom? Yeah, there are. Doesn't mean that your child is going to suffer. It just means the classes will be larger. When I went to school decades and decades and decades ago, classroom sizes were pretty large. I mean, like really large. There were more than 30 kids in a class. I don't go to school here anymore. I don't have kids in school here anymore. I don't know how large the classes are. I speak from a lay person that knows nothing. I don't know how big they are, but can they get bigger? Yeah, sure, why not? If you want to play sports after hours, there's an after cost to it. Extra curriculum, extra money. Hopefully not forever, but for now, yes. I'm sorry. If you're going to take advantage of the action, you may have to pay for that for the time being. There are various ways to do this. Is that going to solve the problem? Probably not. So, like everything else, as I suffer through this national crisis that we're in, I also suffer through the local ones. Choose your suffrage. Can't suffer through all of them, but it looks like I will. All right, let's move on. Have I annoyed you enough just yet? I'm not finished. I want to talk about school because, and I've talked about this for decades as well, and I've gotten some pretty good feedback that people don't agree with me entirely. Let me tell you a little something about what I went through. When I went to school, I started in nursery school. My parents sent me to nursery school, and I don't think I learned a damn thing in it. I think the only thing I learned in nursery school was how to march around the room. That's about it. Before I went to nursery school, I didn't know how to march around anything. But nursery school taught me how to march around a room. Who knew? Who knew this was possible? I was so young, I don't remember much of anything. I think the purpose of nursery school was to acclimate me, get me used to dealing socially with other human beings. These other human beings were kids my age, so they were little children. That's where I was supposed to have learned to get along with other little children, but what it ultimately taught me, I've realized, is how I don't get along with little children, even to this day. Little children are little children, they'll grow out of it. Nursery school. I have absolutely no recollection of it really whatsoever, except for marching around a room. Then came kindergarten. That was an advanced nursery school. I learned little of nothing in kindergarten. I think I learned to march around a larger room now. And the kids, still not getting along with them, still don't understand the point of other kids. I understood my point as a child, but other people being children, I didn't understand why that was necessary. I remember my nursery school teacher. I don't remember her name. I think I can recollect her face. I am certainly confident that she is no longer with us, unfortunately. But a nice lady. Kindergarten teachers are usually nice ladies. Not a lot of nice men. I mean, sexually. There aren't many men doing kindergarten because I don't know how that would look. But women, yeah, that's fine. There, I learned how to march around a larger room and how to get along with children that still wasn't happening. And they started to introduce me to objects and pictures. They would take, it was like a romper room kind of deal. They would take pictures. I think there were 6 pictures. There was a chair, a table, a bus, 6 things, a chicken. And they say, look at these. And then they would put a curtain in front of them. And then like about 10 seconds later, they take the curtain away and one of the pictures would be missing. There'd only be 5 pictures. And I used to raise my hand in kindergarten class and say, hey, someone took a picture. And they said, yeah, that's the idea of the exercise, Van Dam. I was the only kid in the kindergarten class that they called me by my last name because I was so advanced. I assumed. Which picture is missing? I don't know. The chicken? No, the chicken's still there, you schmuck. That's not the idea here, is which one is not there. I don't know. And that was kindergarten. I remember kindergarten graduation, which is really for the parents and certainly not for the child. My parents showed up at kindergarten graduation. No cap and gown, nothing like that. Didn't get inebriated afterwards or anything. I think my parents got inebriated afterwards, but I did not. I was a kindergarten kid. And so my parents sat down and the kindergarten teacher said, now we're going to do a little show for you, kids. And we would all stand up and they put some music on and we marched around the room. We were so good at that point. Then started grade school, where I started to get graded. Oh, okay. I was in grade school for 6 years. I was brought up in Teaneck, New Jersey. And we didn't march around the room anymore. So I don't really understand why all that marching around the room came into play, because now you're not supposed to get up from your desk. You just sit there and not march around the room. And for 6 years, they were monologues from various teachers of different ages and different sizes and different backgrounds and different sexes. And they would stand in front of the room and talk incessantly for about 6 hours. And I sometimes listened, mostly didn't. I would stare at the clock. Grade school was an education in clock reading. I can read a clock really well. When I was growing, generation gap, generation gap, generation W, you're not going to understand what I'm saying. Clocks used to be something that was on a wall, and it had a big round disc, which they called a face, and there were 12 numbers, 1 through 12. Actually, that might be 11 numbers. I'm not sure. Whatever. And there was a little hand, and there was a big hand. The little hand pointed out the hour. The big hand pointed out the minutes. And some advanced clocks had a second hand. Wait a second. And that second hand continually moved forever. for always. And I love that second hand because it meant stuff was going. Things were happening. Because all I wanted in grade school was for the school day to end. And that's where I started doing my math. Let's see, it's 2 o'clock. School ends at 3:15. I've got an hour and 15 minutes left to go. Now an hour and 9 minutes. Now an hour and 6 minutes. That's where I learned math. Also in grade school, another thing happened that I, to this day, don't understand, and I'm an advocate for this as well. I don't know how you feel about it. But the teachers, the monologue people who stood in front of the room, by the way, I'm not putting teachers down. They should be getting more money. They are like, when you grow up, what do you remember about your childhood? Your teacher. One of your teachers influenced you like you would never believe, and you loved one of those teachers. A little too much sometimes. Teachers. That's big. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. It's a big job because they're not only teachers, but they're also police officers for the class. That's a tough job. That's a top shelf job. Anyway, the monologues. And the teacher would, stand there and talk, and I would watch the clock. And at the end of the school day, the teacher would say, well, that'll be it for today. Thanks for being here. Your homework assignment is... What? My homework assignment? You mean me sitting here for 6.5 hours was not enough for you? You couldn't squeeze all that stuff into that six hours? I'm including lunch hour. Yeah. No, we got homework for you. Now go home and work more. I will never get out of your life. I will always be there. Even when you leave the classroom, I am always there. I'm telling you to do stuff, even when you're not here. And then I'd get home and I'd have to do homework that they would test me on the next day, so I kind of had to do it. And this gave birth to my parents' favorite phrase for my entire school career. And the phrase was, Ronnie, did you do your homework? Are you doing your homework? Did you do your homework? Do you need help with your homework? Shut up with the homework. Stop with the homework. I am home now. I want to not work. I want to have a childhood, but you don't have one. I know, but I want one if I wanted one. I don't want to come home and then work more based on what my boss told me to do. I mean, even when you grow up and you get a job someday, you don't perform that job at home after hours, unless you're an attorney or something. No, you work 9 to 5, you go home and you have a beer and you watch TV and you have dinner and you go to bed. What's your problem? No, go home and then at 8 o'clock, do some more work that you would do at your desk at the job. But no, that's not that way it works. So grade school, not so good. Then where I lived in New Jersey, it was junior high school. I think here in this part of the planet, you call it middle school, which kind of makes more sense because that school is like really in the middle. Junior high school, it's not high school, junior. It's junior high school. And I don't know how long your middle school is. My junior high school was, I think, 3 years. In some places, it's only 2 years. It's just so messed up. Junior high school is when I really learned not to like people my own age. That was the definitive moment in my life. You know, I've been going to school now for about 6, 7, 8 years, and I definitely don't like people my own age. I like older people because they're like cool. People my own age, come on, what are you kidding me? And then high school. I don't remember what, I learned stuff in high school, but all the stuff that I didn't have to know. I already knew math because I was subtracting hours off the clock, so I knew that. Algebra? Where would I use this? Calculus? I can't even spell that. Geometry? I know what a triangle is. Get off my back. What's your problem? Do you know what a radius is? Yeah, give me a ruler. I'll figure it out. And now You don't need to know any of that stuff because in 2 seconds, Alexa will tell you the answer, or you can go to a Google thing. You'll know the answer faster than you can think of it in your head. There's no reason to know that stuff anymore. They taught me history, found out George Washington had wooden teeth. Other than that, I don't really care. All that tells me is take care of your teeth and your gums. People wore wigs back then. Men wore makeup. Oh, boy. History, sure, fine, whatever. Math, Current events was good. You got to know your current events. Now, I suggest you don't. But then, that was okay. But high school was the social time. It was social time. Because that was the period of my life where I started dating girls. Or if you're a guy and you date guys, or you're girls and you date girls, whatever, it's a whole different thing now. But you dated somebody and you had a relationship and it was your first love. You felt, in high school, you felt that first tingle in your body. And it wasn't a disease or any kind of nerve damage. It was actually love. And it was a whole nother feeling. And in most cases, most kids in high school have their first sexual encounter. Parents don't know about it, but it happened. It's the social time, and that's where you really learn. Not book learning, life learning. That's when you learn from other kids. And you start to feel like, well, we're not children anymore. Now we're in the same boat. And then comes extended schooling. College, or some kind of technical school, or, some type of extended education past high school. Not everybody does it. Not everybody has to do it. Not everybody can do it. And that's where I don't understand it anymore. College just doesn't make sense to me. Unless you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. Or an engineer of a train. What? Oh, that's a different engineer. College. And the reason college is so ridiculous in this country is because of the cost of college. You are literally bankrupting your parents. Unless they're incredibly, fantastically rich, in which case you probably don't have to pay the full tuition either. But it's out of hand. And there are answers to it, and I'm going to try to help with this. If you happen to be able to go to Harvard, congratulations. You could probably get a scholarship of some sort. But let me tell you something. Harvard is $87,000 a year right now. A year. That includes, boarding and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the cost to the parents or to the kid who may be paying for college tuition the rest of their lives. $87,000. Brown University, where's that? Rhode Island, that little state? By the way, Rhode Island, I don't think you're an island. I think you're like a peninsula of some sort, or I don't know what you call yourselves, but I don't think you're an island. Anyway, same amount of money, $87,000 a year. Now, that's like $350,000, $360,000 for the 4 years. And that's if you don't go on to a super graduate school, to become a dentist or a doctor or a lawyer or something. Oh my God, I don't know how you afford that. Yeah, we make a lot of money, but we can't pay our tuition somehow. Boston College, about $280,000 for your 4-year visitation, a little more than $250,000, so that you can, I don't know what. UMass Amherst, look, if you're going to go to a college, go to a state college. Go to a state college. It's the best deal going, and I'll tell you why, because of the cost. And it's just as good. It's still college and a university, and they teach you the same stuff. That's about $17,000 a year for tuition. Ends up, if you're going to stay there, and get room and board and stuff, $32,000 a year. In comparison, that's almost 40% of what you would spend anyway. So that's not bad. Tufts is up to $70,000 a year. Princeton, $65,000 a year. Syracuse, $88,000 a year. What? So you can be snowed in all winter? Maybe that helps you learn. Stonehill College, that's a local college, $60,000 a year. If you want to stay there with housing and food and all that stuff, $75,000 a year. Well, for Stonehill? Yeah, I know. They're making a lot of money, and somehow Easton is losing it. I don't understand. Maybe there should be some negotiations going on here. Stonehill, you want to stay in Easton? You're going to have to pay. But we're a financial institution. Yeah, but we're not. It's not working out. Ay. Bridgewater State University used to be a college, but they increased the size of their library. Now they're a university. $13,000 a year. And you can probably live at home if you live in the area. So it's just tuition, $13,000 a year. I think many families can actually swing that. I think so. Not everyone, but some can. And there you have it. So what's the answer? I'm going to tell you a little story. My toilet leaked about 3 months ago. I think I did a show about it because it was such a consequential time in my life. Not having a toilet or the use of a bathroom in my house, it caused a lot of stress in my life. I called the plumber. Plumber comes over to walk in the door, $120. I must have a special door because I have to pay for them to walk through my door. $120. Fix the toilet, it's going to cost you too. On the average, we're talking about $300, $400 for the visit, for the whole deal. That's a nice hour and a half stay work there. Electricians, heating, air conditioning, automobile mechanic. These are services that we all need. And we're happy to pay for them because they make us whole again. That's an education that's worth it. And it's far less expensive than going to one of those flutin' colleges. Technical schools, you'll see, they're going to become revered as the place to go. Because you can set yourself up really nice in life if you've got those skills. And I mean really nice in life. You could even do that for a long time and then start your own company and be the boss and have a successful company because people need that service and they'll pay anything for it. Technical schools are the way to go. Your kid doesn't have to go to college. That is a college. It's a college of technical skills. And almost all of those skills that are taught in technical schools are not going to be affected by AI. Many of your jobs that you're going and skills that you're going to get through college, AI might be able to fill those things. Customer service, AI will do that. Taking complaint call, AI will do that. Taking your insurance claims and AI will do that. Selling products, AI will be salespeople. They'll be doing that. They're already doing that. AI is going to lower the amount of employees in almost every industry, except for those that fix things for you. Plant trees. Yard work. I mean, yard work used to be, now landscaping companies, nice. Good job. Learn a skill. Can't go wrong. I'm sorry to impart that stuff upon you. I don't know if you agree with me or don't agree with me, but that's about it. And happy 300 years to you. Okay, I'm out of time for today. Join me, ronvandam.com, newenglandbroadcasting.com, or any one of those platforms by Googling my name, which is painful. But if you do it, you'll find me somewhere. And we'll do this again next time on this TV channel that I'm on that we seem to be occupying at this very moment. So have yourselves a wonderful day. Make it a great day. And I wish you peace.